Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is Christopher Aaron. This is June 27th, 2018. And suffice it to say, gold is at must-hold, mission-critical support at this moment. We are going to take a look at the charts and how things are setting up in the gold market. There really is no fundamental reason for the weakness we are seeing today. This is all short-term trading action. We've been expecting these lower prices for the last several weeks. You'll remember I was talking about the target of coming down toward 1235 several weeks ago. Sure enough, we're within $15 of that target in the gold market, making a new low for the present week. And switching over to silver, we are not seeing the outperformance in the silver market, at least over the last 3 days, that we were seeing last week. So that gold to silver ratio is softening a little bit, at least as far as today goes. Both of these metals are now at absolutely critical support. Silver support, especially above 1570, must hold, in my opinion. Must hold if this market is going to have any chance of rounding out of the present consolidations and rising in the third and the fourth quarter. And then we will talk about the next several years coming up. So 1570 must hold. Switching back to look at gold, let's take this chart from a blank canvas standpoint and just see where we are at this moment. The weakness coming in here in the gold market. We will bring up the key. Everything here is color coordinated for your ease of reading these charts. What are we looking at once again in the gold market? The flat resistance zone from the 2016 high, the 2017 high, and the 2018 highs here over the last several months. Flat resistance with rising support from the absolute low in December 2015 through the low in December 2016. And sure enough, this is the target that we had called out several weeks ago, and we are making that test in the vicinity at the present moment. Now, the actual test would come in at slightly above 1240. Of course, the target we were talking about was 1235. So for this ascending triangle formation to remain valid, gold must see new buyers step in here at any moment. This could happen tomorrow. This could happen early next week. But we are looking for new buyers to be stepping in here and keeping this series of rising lows intact, right? Rising lows with flat resistance. Now, there are a number of leading indicators that we looked at last week in the premium service, but we will look at a new one that is appearing just over the last couple of days here, and we're looking at the top of this chart. Of course, in the middle section here, we're talking about the price of gold. On the top, we are talking about momentum. This is a momentum reading. Momentum, the relative strength index here, is a momentum reading. How far has the price moved above a moving average? And we're simply looking at moments where the price is at a high momentum, indicating, for example, that the price may need to back off, or when the price is at a low momentum, indicating that there may be a bounce. So we look at the present reading here with this RSI reading under the 30 level. It's just showing that momentum is extremely poor to the downside. And let's look at some other times where this momentum reading has shown up. We can look back at December 2016. We saw this reading, about 1 week before this major bottom. So the fact that we're seeing the most oversold reading since this major bottom is telling me that the possibility for another major low to form here is upon us. The momentum readings are favorable at this point for a major bottom to form. Let's look at another time when this momentum reading happened. Of course, we can look back here in the third quarter of 2016. We can see just a few days before this major low formed here in October. Let's look at a couple other times this reading happened. Look at this here from May of 2017. Basically corresponding exactly with the low. The oversold reading. And once again, we can see that here just a month or two later, exactly corresponding with the low. So if you take this as a net sum, you look at the pattern that we're talking about here, this ascending triangle, you look at the number of times that these lows corresponded within about a week or so of major significant lows over the past 2.5 years. Let's get rid of those for a moment. And you say that the odds favor a significant low setting up here in gold over the next couple of weeks. Now, what happens if this low does not hold? What happens if the low recovers, let's say, back to 1300 and then begins to soften again and this pattern breaks? What happens then? Well, have the fundamentals changed on gold? No, absolutely not. The same ounce of gold is the same ounce of gold. We are still looking at bubble-like psychology developing in the US and world stock markets. We are still looking at manipulation from various central banking organizations, bailouts, bail-ins, endless wars, everything. We are still looking at those same fundamentals. But if this support level breaks, like it or not, the trajectory for gold will be changing for the foreseeable future, and we will be looking at a radically different pattern than the present pattern. All patterns eventually break either in the bias, in this case the ascending triangle, the bias is higher. But as a technical based analyst, one of the things that you must bring into the equation, you must arrive at a point where you say that your expectation may or may not be coming to fruition. So for me, as a technical based analyst, if I see this rising support level fail, I will come back to the drawing screen and I will admit that this pattern is not working out as it was expected to. And then we will step back and we will take a brand new look at the gold market. So it's never about saying we have perfect knowledge. It's always about saying, when are the lines, when are the rules of this scenario valid, or when are they invalid? Still, this pattern is valid to this day. We have a momentum reading that is similar to other lows that have formed. And my expectation is that the market is going to form an important low here and begin to round back up to challenge this flat resistance zone over the next 1 to 3 months. I do thank you for watching. Let's see how this plays out. There is a premium research service that comes out every week. We cover things such as gold, but also silver, the mining sector, the US dollar, the US stock market, as was discussed in this video, the bond market, the 800-pound gorilla sitting in the room, the commodity index, and the individual company research for the mining companies that we are investing in here. This is all included in the one premium service. I also work with individuals by voice or by email. Just know that I do not sell the precious metals. I am equally willing to tell people that they may want to consider waiting. They may want to consider averaging in. They may want to consider different products. So simply know that I don't sell the metals. I simply sell the research perspective that I offer here. You can reach me one-on-one by the consultations tab on the website. I do know of a dealer that I trust that I buy from personally. They're called bullionexchanges.com. There is a coupon code to save $10 off an order of $300 or more. You just have to type in that coupon code below. You can find that below the video if you would like to try them out. This weekend in the premium service, we will be covering this in addition to this major topic, which is, if this support in gold fails that we're talking about, just above 1240, what do we do now? This would be a scenario that would be very uncomfortable, but as investors, one of the things that we have to do is we have to become more comfortable being uncomfortable. We have to be in the actual market that is in front of us, not the market that we hope to have in front of us. So this weekend coming up, we will examine this topic if that support were to fail. I do thank you for tuning into this video. Incredibly important support and test that gold is facing now. Remember those oversold readings that showed up at the previous lows. Remember where we are now with the rising support coming into the gold market just above 1240, and let us watch. Let us watch to see, does this pattern maintain its integrity into the third quarter? And if so, I believe all systems are still going to be go, but let's let the pattern speak for itself.